Here we go. All ones. Oi, chummers, today's the day. You know it, as April 30th, 2021, the day UGE took an unexpected turn of Goblinization. This is the day that orcs and trolls awakened and became a part of the greater meta-humanity. But before I explain that, I have to explain the awakening of the Sixth World itself and the first wave of UGE. It all began in 2011, also known as a Year of Chaos. As we approached the end of the Mesoamerican calendar, many strange things happened then. People were being born with what was termed psychic powers, and there seemed to be ever more sightings of strange things like Lakuba Chabra, Bigfoot, and Elvis being reported every day. What we did not know then was this age was at an end, as new things unseen by the eyes of living meta-humanity were slowly returning to the world. As the mana levels grew higher, it changed the world and meta-humanity itself, and in January 2011, many children were being born different, many short and stocky and others tall and slender. Doctors had no idea for the reason of these new phenotypes, and called it unexplained genetic expression, or UGE for short. Many people in this world sadly responded to UGE children with discrimination and hate, and when on March 14th, Newsweek magazine described them as elves and dwarves, like out of the works of Tolkien and D&D, had accidentally caused even more hostility to these children. By May of that year and throughout the next 3 years, due to the sad works of bigotry, many UGE children had been given up for adoption, abandoned, or just simply disappeared. In time, the worst of meta-humanity flared, as even the Catholic Church split for the issue of meta-humanity and rights, as Pope John Paul IV denounced meta-humanity as abomination in the eyes of God. The French Catholic Church opposed the declaration, creating a permanent rift between the French Catholic Church and the Vatican to this day. For a time, as the chaos caused by magic died down and society learned to cope with these strange new changes, the great dragon Dunkelzahn explained in a 12-hour TV interview that the world goes through stages, and this was a new age of magic returning to the world. And as the world thought it could catch its breath, it was horribly wrong. In 2021, a new stage of UGE arrived. This time it caused massive changes in the metahuman body, and 10% of children were born with broad frames bearing horns or tusks. The media were quick to find a new shock factor term for this new stage of UGE, coining it Goblinization. This time it was not just newly born children, but many humans as they hit puberty had changed into new metatypes. As this new form of UGE swept the world, many nations closed their border, fearing a new pandemic. In many areas, riots and mass hysteria reigned as those with UGE children had to hide or band together with their own kind to protect themselves from the masses rioting in fear. In the United Canadian American States, or UCAS, many metahumans were gathered together, crowded in camps and city blocks. On February 7th, 2039, in this environment of disgusting hate and violence, the UCAS passed the 14th Amendment to the United Canadian States Constitution, granting full citizenship to all metahumanity, with many other nations following suit soon after. But sadly, this only sparked more unrest, as the protests to stop the hate were attacked, and as the hysteria and fear grew, so did the fires of hate spawn the Night of Rage. Many took to the streets, firebombing the shelters, harboring metahumans, as law enforcement stood by and did nothing. It took the corporate council and many of the great dragons to pressure the world's governments into threatening law enforcement agencies with breach of contract to forcefully end the riots. As calm returned to the world, many metahumans found they preferred to live in communities of their own. Elves and orcs had even formed their own nation. And though the dark days of past hate are not behind us, metahumanity moves ever more to accepting the changes of the Sixth World. Remember, chummers, it doesn't matter if the runner next to you has horns or pointy ears. When you run in the shadows, it only matters that you get back safely to collect your Nuyen.